is not something I drag along. I kind of just go straight to the point. Sometimes I ramble a little bit, but for the most part, I do like to keep things short and sweet. So it's not a long slide deck. It's about 40 slides or 35 or something like that. So this is something that we're going to go through fairly quickly. So business funding frameworks for 2024 and beyond. So I need you guys to start thinking of what's coming down the road. And what I mean by that is what's coming down 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And this is something I've been noticing the last couple of years, but I'm starting to notice a lot more things recently. And it's only going to get worse. Okay, I gotta let these people in. It's only going to keep getting like this going forward. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things and we'll get right into it. So real quick, if you guys can tag me on IG, repost this that you're watching this live. Try to get my followers up on IG. So if you guys can repost me on IG, I really appreciate that. All right, real quick, disclaimer. So whatever I say on this call, it doesn't mean it's going to be accurate for you at the time that you might do a sequence or you might do an application, or this information I give you might change tomorrow, might change next week, might change next month, might change next year. So I always like to disclaim, to put out this disclaimer to let you guys know that data points are always changing, right? But always remember, I tell this to all my friends and family, personal credit is the foundation. And the reason is, if you have great personal credit, you will never be broke. Let me say that again. If you have great credit, you'll never be broke. Why? Because if I lose my job, if I'm down on hard times, if I have great credit, I can go to the bank, get 30, 40, 50,000, just like that, just off my resume. That's on the personal side. I could do business side. So if you focus on the foundation, which is your personal credit, you'll never be broke. I can give you the frameworks, but that doesn't guarantee the same results. There's a lot of variables in the mix. So you always want to make sure that you do your own research as well. Patience is key. You got to be strategic. 3, 5, 6, 8, 10 moves down the road like chess. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. All right. So most chess grandmasters know their next moves, 15 to 20 moves. And business and life isn't much different. Most people only know their next few moves, while the few know their next 15 to 20. You got to take time out, write down your next 10 moves. I'm already thinking, this is just me personally, I'm already thinking 24 months down the road. I have a business right now that my goal this year is to either double the revenue or increase it 30 to 40%. Next year, I'm going to sell and then buy a bigger business. I'm going to buy a bigger business anywhere between $1 to $5 million. I'm already thinking 24 months down the road. I already know how much funding I'm going to need. I already know how I'm going to get the funding. I have LLC set up, all aged. I know what business lines of credit I'm going to get, how much funding I need. So this is what I mean. You always got to think moves ahead. You have to treat your life and business like chess. Okay? So this is where it all starts. Again, personal credit is the foundation. Then you move over to the business credit side, business credit cards. All business credit is, in layman's terms, honestly, it's just business credit cards. Okay? Business credit cards. Business lines of credit is where you need to go. That is the end goal. Why? Because business lines of credit is straight cash in the bank. Straight cash in the bank. A business credit card, you got to get creative on how to liquidate it. You got to find ways to take the money off the card. There's ways to do that, but you have to get creative. A business line of credit, if I get approved for $50,000 or $100,000, that's $100,000 cash in the bank. If I get approved for 250, that's cash in the bank compared to a credit card, okay? So you always start from personal credit. You move over to business credit. I'm already past this stage. I don't need more business credit cards. I'm focusing on this, business lines of credit. So that should always be the goal. Personal credit, then you move over to business credit, then you go to business lines of credit. This is basic information. So for the people who are new to this field, I know we got a lot of new people in the group. So I'm just going to give you a basic ideal credit profile. Obviously, 100% payment history. No derogatories, charge-offs, collections. Credit utilization, everybody says 30%. Most people say 10%. Personally, I don't really, I keep it at 0. Personally, no more than 3 inquiries in the last 6 months. Minimum 5 primary accounts, not AUs, primary accounts, which means your own account. Ideally, you want 10 or more accounts. And the reason is obviously because if you have more accounts, you're showing the lender that you can manage more debt. Bare minimum, 2,500. Ideally, 10K and above. 680, preferred 740. After 740, essentially in a different tier. You hear this a lot, right? I've been saying this. So for the people who don't know who I am, little backstory. I don't want to ramble too much, but I got funded. I knew about business credit before business credit was cool, and all these gurus started preaching business credit. I got funded in 2018. It's 2024. I got funded in 2018. Okay. So I've been in this. I knew about this stuff before people preach this stuff. I always preach this: cash flow, collateral, credit. I got receipts from 4 years ago that I was preaching this stuff. So if you heard this term, just know where they got it from. So here's what you guys need to know going forward. Banks are tightening up. Banks are starting to ask for proof, and lending is changing. Okay. So here's what you need to focus on. This is what you need to focus on going forward: personal credit and cash flow. Say that again: personal credit and cash flow. I know you don't want to hear that, but the truth is you got to get away from the idea of this theory of no docs. Yes, that's great. I don't have to provide documents, but there's short-term thinking and long-term thinking. Short-term, you should apply for these products that offer no docs. But in the same breath, you have to focus on building a business that produces cash flow. The reason you want to do that is because when you have a great personal credit and cash flow, you won't get denied. You won't get denied. The reason is you got a great resume. This guy or girl is able to manage that. They have a great score, and they have a business that's producing revenue and cash flow. So you want to set yourself up where you don't fail and get denied for these products. Now, do I think banks are going to start asking documentation for business credit cards? Not likely. I don't think that's ever going to change. I think depending on the type of limit, maybe they might ask for 1 or 2 months bank statements. But generally speaking, for business credit cards, they don't. 100%. Now they're going to start changing for business lines of credit. They're going to start asking for bank statements. And the reason is because a business line of credit, again, is straight cash in the bank. Credit is made up. A credit card, that's made up money. It doesn't exist. It's like money made out of thin air. When a business line of credit is cash, right? I give you, if you get approved for a business line of credit for $100,000, I give you $100,000 cash in your bank. That's the difference. Banks want to mitigate the risk, especially with business lines of credit. So I want you to change your focus from no doc, this no doc stuff. What's the hack? There is no hack. Here's a strategy: build your personal credit and build a business. Build a business that generates revenue and cash flow, so you can never you go to the bank. If I got great personal credit and here's my bank statement. Hey, you need some bank statements? Here you go. You focus on building your personal credit and building a business, and you'll never get denied. So these are some things that you need to, some data points that you guys should or may not know. Banks have their own internal rating score. This is a 3-month average. So they call it low rating, mid rating, high rating. Low 5 rating is 10,000 all the way up to 39,000. So this is basically like to see if you're building that relationship, you're making deposits, you have money coming in and out of that account. The higher the rating, the higher the approval odds, the higher the limits, and the more products they're able to lend to you because you're showing that you're building that relationship over time with some deposits and monthly average as far as leaving some cash in there. All right, let me just give you the difference between all the programs. So no docs, basically no docs, right? They're not asking for any documentation. Low docs, they want 3 months bank statements, 1 year tax returns, full docs, 2-year tax returns, profit and loss statements, and personal tax returns. All right, so here's some maximum funding hacks. So before you go for funding on the business side for business credit cards, you want to ask for a credit limit increase on your personal cards, only if it's a softball before applying for the business credit cards. Obviously reallocating limits if you guys are not aware of that. Bank of America, Chase, American Express, you can move limits from one card to the other to get a higher limit. Ask for credit limit increases after the approval. Call the reconsideration line. Even before you activate the card for a business credit card, call them, tell them the limit is not enough, and ask for credit line increases. Another hack that I don't hear people talk about, and this has just been my personal experience with Bank of America specifically. I turned a $5,000 credit card into $40,000 in about 13 months or so because I asked for a credit line increase every other month. I didn't wait 6 months. I didn't wait 3 months. I did it every 3 months. Why? Because it was a soft pull. It's not going to hurt me either way. So I did it every other month, and I got it all the way up to 40K. Now they're denying me, and I think it's because I believe it's because their credit limit exposure is 80K. And I think after 50K, they start asking for docs. So I'm getting close to that 50K. They start to ask for more documentation from my experience. So from my experience, I got it to 40K, asking a credit line increase every other month. That may not work for every other bank. I'm just telling you my experience from Bank of America personal credit card that I got. Here are some top banks that you guys can reach out to or can apply to. Chase. Here's why I always put Chase and American Express above any other bank. Chase Bank. Great rewards, high limits. You get the best of both worlds. You get great rewards and high limits. And they got business lines of credit. American Express, same thing. Charge cards, high limits, great rewards. Every other bank, in my opinion, is lower tier. They're like Chase and American Express is like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, in my opinion. As far as like the banks and credit cards, you get the best of both worlds. These are some of the top banks. Chase, American Express, Chewy.